Welcome to the Olive Grove Podcast.
Glad to be here.
Today we're doing a deep dive into a really powerful story. It's Hannah's story from 1 Samuel.
That's right. And we're using some materials related to MCS 1 Samuel to, guide our discussion.
It's a story that, well, it just resonates, doesn't it? Even today. Touches on so many things.
Oh, absolutely. Longing, faith, keeping promises. It's all in there. To really get it, though, we kind of need to picture the time period.
Right. Set the scene.
We're in the hill country of Ephraim. There's this man, Elkanah.
And he has two wives, Hannah and Peninnah.
Exactly. And right away, there's this stark contrast.
Peninnah has children. Hannah doesn't.
And back then, having children wasn't just personal. It was, hugely significant culturally.
Yeah, our sources really emphasize that. For Hannah being barren, that would have carried a lot of shame, a real sense of lack.
For sure. Children were seen as a blessing, vital for the family line, for status. So Hannah's situation would have made her feel quite vulnerable.
In her own home, even.
Definitely. And in the community, too. And sort of layered on top of this personal struggle, you have Elkanah's yearly trip.
Ah, yes, the pilgrimage to Shiloh.
To worship and sacrifice to Adonai Tzha'ot.
A really important religious duty. And the text mentions Eli's sons are there, Hophni and Pinchas serving as priests.
Yeah, that detail becomes pretty relevant later when you look at their behavior.
These trips, likely during big feasts, like maybe the Feast of Tabernacles,
Yeah.
they were supposed to be joyous, right?
Totally. Community celebration, shared meals, all of that.
But for Hannah,
You can just imagine. It would have just amplified her pain, really. Surrounded by families, by celebration, when her own deepest longing wasn't fulfilled. It must have been incredibly hard.
so let's look at how Elkanah tried to handle it. He tries to comfort her during these sacrifices,
He does. The text says he gave her a double portion.
which seems like a clear sign of his love, right? Despite her not having children.
It definitely shows he cared for her. But, it's interesting. Sometimes gestures like that, even when well-intentioned.
They can miss the mark.
Yeah, maybe. Giving her more food might have, in a way, just underlined what she was missing, the children who would normally share in those portions. It kind of highlights how hard it is to truly comfort deep emotional pain sometimes.
And then there's Peninnah, adding insult to injury, really.
Oh, absolutely. The text is blunt. It says Peninnah taunted her severely.
Provoking her, specifically because Adonai hadn't given her children.
And it wasn't just once, it was year after year, every time they went up to Shiloh.
That constant targeted cruelty.
It's brutal. Our sources point out how this just wore Hannah down the tears, not being able to eat. It shows the real emotional toll.
Yeah, she's dealing with her own grief and this relentless bullying from her rival wife.
Exactly. Which brings us to Elkanah's response to her sadness.
Right. He sees her weeping, not eating, and he asks, Hannah, why are you crying? Why aren't you eating? Why so sad?
And then he says that line.
Am I not more to you than 10 sons?
Now, maybe he meant it lovingly, trying to reassure her of her value to him.
But it feels a bit tone deaf.
Yeah.
Like he's dismissing the depth of her actual sorrow.
It kind of does, doesn't it? It almost minimizes her desire for a child and, the social reality of her situation back then. It's like trying to fix a heart problem with logic.
Exactly. So she's carrying all this pain, this deep personal grief, and that leads us to this really pivotal moment.
Her prayer in Shiloh.
Yes.
Yeah.
After the meal, she gets up. The text describes her as being in deep distress.
And she just pours out her soul to Adonai. This is where things really shift.
How so?
Well, she moves from just, enduring her circumstances to actively bringing her pain to God. It's raw, it's emotional.
Not just going through the motions of prayer.
No, not at all. This is coming from the very core of her being. And she makes this incredible vow.
In Adonai Tzfat, she prays, if you'll just look on my misery, remember me. Don't forget me. Give me a son.
Then I will give him back to you, Adonai, for his whole life.
And no razor shall touch his head.
That last part is key. It connects directly to the Nazirite vow.
Being set apart for God's service, right?
Exactly. This wasn't just, please give me a baby. This was, give me this child I desperately long for, and I will dedicate him completely for life to your service. It shows how deep her desire was, but also her willingness to surrender him back.
It says so much about her faith. She's not just trying to solve her social problem. She's making a profound commitment to God.
Absolutely. Now, while she's praying like this, really intensely,
Eli the priest is watching her
he is. But he totally misreads the situation.
because she's praying silently. Her lips are moving, but no sound.
Right. And Eli just jumps to the conclusion that she's drunk.
Which as our sources note, might say something sad about what Eli was used to seeing at the sanctuary.
Yeah, maybe more drunkenness than deep prayer, unfortunately.
So he confronts her pretty harshly.
Yeah.
How long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine.
I mean, can you imagine? You're in the middle of this incredibly vulnerable, heartfelt prayer.
And the high priest accuses you of being drunk in public.
It's jarring, but Hannah's response is amazing.
It really is. She doesn't get defensive or lash out.
No, she's respectful but firm. She says, "No, my lord. Basically, I'm not drunk. I'm a woman who is deeply troubled.
I've just been pouring out my soul before Adonai.
Don't think I'm worthless. I'm speaking out of my great anxiety and vexation."
She corrects him so clearly but humbly. And it makes you think, doesn't it? That question our source material raises.
About whether our places of worship are known more for genuine prayer or for other things.
It's a challenging thought.
It is. But Eli, to his credit, he listens. He realizes his mistake.
And he gives her a blessing. Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant your request.
Acknowledging he got it wrong and offering hope.
And Hannah's reaction to that is also really telling.
Yeah.
She says, "May your servant find favor in your eyes." And she leaves, she eats something, and the text says her face was no longer downcast.
Wow. That's faith in action, isn't it?
Totally. Nothing had actually changed externally yet. She wasn't pregnant yet.
But she believed. She trusted her prayer was heard, and that changed her entire demeanor. It's powerful.
So they go home. Elkanah and Hannah are together, and then comes that simple, profound line.
And Adonai remembered her.
Just reading that, it gives you chills. It means God saw, he heard, he acted.
Her cry wasn't lost, and sure enough, in time, she conceives.
And gives birth to a son, Samuel.
And the name itself, Samuel, our sources point out the meaning.
Related to ask from God or name of God.
Right. A constant reminder of how he came to be.
But Hannah's story doesn't end there. She made a vow.
And she intended to keep it. So when it's time for the next yearly sacrifice...
Elkanah gets ready to go up to Shiloh.
But Hannah says essentially, not yet.
I'll wait until the boy is weaned. Which could have been a few years, right? Maybe up to 3.
Potentially, yes. A significant amount of time to bond with this child she longed for.
Knowing she would fulfill her promise and Elkanah's response.
It's supportive. He says basically, do what seems best. Stay until he's weaned. Just may Adonai establish his word.
It shows trust, doesn't it? Trust in her. Trust in God's plan.
Yeah, a real sense of partnership and faith.
So the time comes. Samuel is weaned.
And Hannah does exactly what she promised. She takes him, along with offerings, back to Shiloh.
Back to the house of Adonai, and she finds Eli.
And reminds him, "Oh, my Lord, remember me. I'm the woman who is standing here praying."
This is the child I prayed for. Adonai granted my petition.
Therefore, she says, I have lent him to Adonai.
That phrase, lent him. Not quite given in the sense of losing him, but dedicated and trusted back to God.
As long as he lives, he is lent to Adonai. It's such a powerful picture of fulfilling a sacred promise.
Our sources really stress how seriously God views vows, and Hannah is just this incredible example of faithfulness.
A truly profound act of dedication, and it sets the stage for Samuel's huge role in Israel's future.
Okay, we're going to just pause the deep dive right here for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
If exploring Hannah's story like this resonates with you, if you find it meaningful, we really want to encourage you to connect with others.
Yeah, community is so important.
Definitely. We'd love for you to check out and maybe join the My Christian Space community online. It's a place for discussions like this, sharing insights.
Connecting with fellow believers. And speaking of making a difference, we also wanted to mention the work of Enduring Freedom Ministries.
Yes, they do some really impactful work. One specific goal they're working towards right now is setting up a food pantry.
Right, in Jerusalem, in Israel, providing essential support, food, to people facing hardship there.
It's a vital initiative in such a significant place. So if you feel moved by that, if you feel maybe called to support that cause,
helping make a tangible difference,
we'd encourage you to consider donating to Enduring Freedom Ministries. Every bit helps them get closer to establishing that much-needed food pantry in Jerusalem.
Okay, welcome back. We're wrapping up our deep dive on Hannah.
As we look back on her story, wow, there are some key things that really stand out.
Definitely. The sheer power of honest, persistent prayer is one.
Absolutely. And faith. Believing God will answer even when things look bleak.
Mm-hmm. And then the importance of following through on commitments, on the vows we make.
Hannah's journey, from such deep sorrow to finding joy, it's just a potent reminder, isn't it?
That God does hear. He listens to those heartfelt cries.
And her willingness to dedicate Samuel back to God, that level of trust is just profound.
Yeah, it speaks to those bigger themes of faith, dedication, surrender, things that are relevant to all of our spiritual walks.
It really is. And it probably makes you think maybe about times in your own life where you felt unheard or overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah's story offers real hope, doesn't it? An encouragement to keep praying, keep trusting.
And it pushes us to think about our own promises, too. What commitments have we made to God, to others?
Are we striving to fulfill them with that same kind of integrity Hannah showed? It's a challenge.
A good one, though. Reflecting on our own faithfulness.
Well, if you found this deep dive valuable, if you enjoyed exploring Hannah's story with us,
We hope you did.
please do subscribe to the Olive Grove podcast. You can find us on YouTube. We'll have more deep dives like this one.
And don't forget, you can often get early access to these discussions, plus find other resources by visiting the My Christian Space website.
Lots more to explore there.
Always.
So, as we leave you today, here's maybe a final thought to carry with you. Think about those times you might have felt unheard.
Mm-hmm.
And just consider again the incredible power shown in Hannah's persistent, faithful prayer. What could that kind of prayer look like in your life today?